As you can see in the title below, this video is about Lilith in the third house, specifically in Scorpio. This is actually a requested video and specifically for people who really want to get in depth with their natal chart. And this can also apply to anyone progressively, transitionally. So wherever you are, or if you're a cross watcher, enjoy, and let's get right into it. I'm going to start off with a couple themes. I'm going to start off, who is Lilith, celebrity example, and then I'll talk more in depth of the natal and transitional part of Lilith. I do want to mention that you can just, if you don't want to hear the beginning part, you can just click at the timestamps below if you just want to get straight to the point. So, all right, so who is Lilith? Lilith is Adam's original first wife. She and Adam were both born from the earth, so they come from the same material. They both were very equals. And of course, she's a woman, he's a man. That's probably the difference, but they both wanted autonomy and they both were dominant. And Adam didn't like that. He wanted her to be submissive and she didn't really willing to conform. And so he banned her, he shamed her, and later felt very repressed for being herself, her natural self, and shamed for that. So what happens is he pulls out Eve out of his rib, and then Eve became his submissive wife, his perfect wife in his eyes. Now, the thing is, a lot of people might miss out is that then Adam later finds out that he does kind of like that lusty side of Lilith, that dark side, that sexual energy. But it's kind of too late. He doesn't want to look bad, and also he doesn't want to look like the bad guy. I don't want to necessarily say he is the bad guy. I just want to emphasize that sometimes people projection can bring fear towards themselves and what other people see in them, so they're trying to repress you or make you look like something. So that's what Lilith is all about. It's just showing you where you felt and feel very repressed and shamed, and how you could be stigmatized or some kind of way in whatever area it is in your life. I feel like we progressively bring out the shadow and dark side of ourselves. Once that's activated from the external world, we come in this world very innocent as babies. Yeah, also Lilith is not just negative. It's not just being repressed and all that stuff. You will experience that, but it's also about empowerment, taking back your power in that area of your life. And yeah, make sure you check your true Lilith node. You want to make sure the more accurate it is, the better. The reason why I say that is because if Lilith is in the beginning degrees or the end degrees, decans of the 30 degrees of each sign, it's going to change signs. So you want to make sure you click on the true Lilith node. Yeah, okay, let's get right into it. Lilith, third house, Scorpio. I want to get into detail specifically with Scorpio. I already made a video about Lilith in the third house. If you want to look into that, you can go on my channel. I will link it down below. But we're going to speak about specifically Scorpio. We're going to start off natally. If you have Lilith in the third house natally, that is a big theme of your life. That is pretty much going to be a big impactful part throughout your life. Now, if you have it transitionally, it's just pretty much like a chapter, but it's a good chapter. So I'm going to start off with a celebrity, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs has this placement. It kind of makes sense. He did break the world of technology. Okay, I forgot to mention this, so I had to add this. So he had a very strange, unique life. He was adopted. And on top of that, he was just very intelligent. So he skipped 5th grade and went straight to middle school. And there he was socially bullied and super awkward. He was called like an awkward loner. So he gave his parents an ultimatum saying that he'll drop out of school if he doesn't change or something like that. He also embodies a lot of Scorpio in this house specifically. And third house is about technology, so he was very passionate and maybe even obsessed about technology, progressed so well, transformed our world with technology, and It's very passionate energy overall. Usually the smart people, they tend to get casted out for a good reason. Usually it's hard for people to understand highly intelligent people. Also, sometimes when you're so intelligent, and I'm not trying to say this is an excuse, but it's real. It happens. When you're so smart, think of Albert Einstein. It's really hard for people to relate with you. The conversation is just, I don't know if you ever spoken with, this sounds really mean, but if you ever spoken with someone who's just not intellectually there with you. And it is hard to make conversation sometimes. It's not that anyone's better, it's just the level of understanding each other. And with him, from what I know, he wasn't the most with partnerships and other things like that. Based on what I read about him, he had his other life. Like, he did very well with his progression of technology. But I'm pretty sure he also had some shadow sides with his own relationships, and probably how he spoke with his own relationships, or who knows, other details of his life, because no one really knows celebrities' lives. They think they do because they see them on TV, magazines, and biographies, but no one really knows the details of your life. No one knows the hardcore truth of your life, truly. Yeah, he's an example. Scorpio and Lilith in general is giving me a little of Taylor Swift, where Taylor Swift is just saying it how it is. And a lot of people hate on her, especially guys, no offense, because I feel like they think, oh, why is she always talking about her exes? Why, like shush. Like, she wants to speak about it, let her. It's her life. This is our own life. We're all connected in different ways, but if that's what she wants to do, just freaking let her. And she gained a lot of money from that, and she definitely connected with the wounded. She connected with the heartbroken people. She transmuted all her pain into maybe sometimes petty lyrics, but honestly it doesn't sound that petty. It just sounds kind of like Sabrina Carpenter vibe, where like telling the person, you're lost, I'm making a song out of this, I'm making money out of this. Yeah, it's all about transmutation, especially with Scorpio. You will be transmuting a lot of the negative energy, the haters, into fire. And I feel like you can use your voice with making money. I know it sounds like I'm not trying to toot your own horn, I swear, but I genuinely feel like Scorpios in the third house with Lilith have very seductive voices. They have an impactful magnetic voice. So it doesn't have to be like, damn, that voice is so hot. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be that your words are so magnetizing to the public, to the world. Hence, you also, when you get so much magnetism, you can also take haters with that, and you can take a lot of people with you when you become so magnetic. Also, hidden knowledge. There's hidden secrets about you. There's secrets that you probably won't even tell your own therapist, maybe even your own life partner, maybe even there's like some things you might not tell your partner that are secrets. It could be anything. It can be very trauma based that you just don't want to tell anyone, or it could be literally like you're with your partner and then you have $1 million in the bank, but you're not telling them. You're like, hell no, no way, I'm not telling anyone what I got in the bank. Definitely there's secrets. You're gonna want to know the hidden knowledge of things in life. So you might be into a lot of 8th house energy. Think of tarot, taboo things, witchy things. You might be drawn into people that are into that. You may be drawn into dirty lyrics, low-key. You might also have like a kinky side of you where you like things to be on the darker side. If you were to talk to a conservative person, they'll be like, shame on you or something, and you don't think it like that. You think it's like, it's normal for you. You're like, it's just our primal instinct, whatever. It's giving me hardcore truth. It's giving me that you are not willing to conform with lying and repressing yourself. And this is the thing, Lilith and Scorpio is a really hard placement because you're very magnetic, and on top of that, you will attract so many dark dark energies, unfortunately. Most people want to be magnetic. They want that feeling, I want to be wanted. But in your case, if you'll be magnetic in all places, which can be very dangerous, and you're going to be hearing things that most people don't hear. So for example, a neighbor tells you something that they will never tell the world, and they're telling you something really inappropriate, and you're just not really, no one sees that side of that person, so it's really hard to believe. So it's really important to trust your intuition when it comes to having this placement, because there's going to be a lot of events in your life where you're going to be put in a position where it doesn't look believable and you're speaking your truth, and it's not going to look like you are. So it's not about looking like you're speaking your truth. You're going to have to be in the mindset of only me and God knows. Or if you don't believe in God, you can just be like, literally only me and me knows. Or me and the universe knows, me and science knows, or whatever. That bug right there saw me. Yeah, you're gonna have to be your own witness sometimes. You can also have a very dark energy with siblings. That's not always the case. It doesn't mean you have a horrible situation with your siblings, but sometimes there could be. There's most likely a chance, if you have siblings, there's most likely a chance that there's something very dark about them that you will soon come across over time in life, or from the very beginning. And sometimes it's not towards you, it's towards others, and you can see their intentions, and it's not as innocent as you thought. I know this because I know someone, I think they had their Lilith transitioning, and we'll get into the transition part. They had their Lilith transitioning in their third house, and they were always close with their siblings, very passionate with each other. But something happened, I think in their mid-40s, where they realized that person is not who they thought they were, and they were doing some sketchy stuff. So I definitely feel like you never really know. There might be hidden secrets that you may not want to find out, that you may find out throughout your life. I'm trying to think what else for the natal part. Oh, a lot of gossip. You will have a lot of gossip in your life, a lot of haters. Specifically when it comes to you speaking up for yourself, people are not going to like that. They're not going to like your voice in general, because Lilith in the third house already has a very seductive voice, let alone Scorpio in the third house. Okay, think of magnetism 10 times more. And I swear to God, that's how Scorpio is. That's why Scorpio is known to be so intense. That's why people are so scared of the energy of Scorpio. I'm not really scared of Scorpio because I am a Scorpio moon. I do understand the intensity of it. I'm not afraid. I'm not. But there's people out there that might be like, whoa, why are they so intense? And why are they so, But when it comes to Scorpio in general, wherever you have Scorpio, that's the magnetism energy. That's where magnets are in the wall. There's a lot of magnetism happening. And specifically with Lilith, Lilith is very seductive. She's in her primal energy. So just be aware of how you use your words, and be aware of how you use your voice. If I was you, and you have Lilith in the third house, there's going to be something about your voice, and it doesn't have to be literally sexually attractive, the voice, but there's something about your voice that people want to keep hearing. It's something that you have to say. I feel like you have something to say with the truth that most people are so scared to even mention, that you have the balls to do so. I feel like you're going to be that type of person that takes back people's power by taking back your power. And since third house is about internet, and it's about communication, journaling, writing, you could be a blogger, you could be a speaker, podcaster, singer, there's a lyric writer, something about you that exposes the primal instinct of us people collectively. And I feel like, yes, you will magnetize a lot of people, and people will finally feel like finally someone just spoke it how it is. But there is going to be a part of that role view that you speak up that people are going to hate. They're not going to like that you defend yourself. They're not going to like that you are transmuting your hate, your sadness, your pain into something really good, perhaps making money, being very successful, or just being magnetic. Like, they might hate you for just being in your authentic state, for really embracing and transmuting and transforming in life. They're gonna be like, I can't do that, and I hate them for that because that's triggering me, something in me, so I'm gonna try to bring them down. That is so Lilith energy, I swear, especially in Scorpio. And then people will be triggered by your seductive voice, so they're gonna be like, oh, like she has such a good, nice voice for a girl, or her voice is deep and it's seductive, or who knows what. Or it could be vice versa. Maybe someone's voice is squeaky and they don't like that yours is like smooth and sailing. Same thing with a guy. I've already mentioned that in the prior third house Lilith video, where some guys might not like other guys that have deep voice when they have squeaky voice. Or sometimes a guy might speak his truth and be in his masculine, the other guy's like, oh, screw you, I want to bring you down, like you're making me look bad, my ego, like things like that. So people will blame things onto you for speaking the truth in front of their face. They don't want to be called out, basically. So that is a lot of the natal part of your life. That's the natal part. Now let's transition to the transitional part, and also progressively. If you're into your progression chart, you can apply this as well. Your progression will be a longer period, like a long chapter, versus when it's transitioning, I think it's about 9 months. Lilith transitions in each sign. So if she is going into your third house and it happens to be Scorpio specifically, basically the manifestation of that chapter during this time, you're going to experience a lot of intensity with learning hidden knowledge such as tarot, astrology. You're going to want to learn very deep, dark secrets. You're going to know a lot of manifestation things that most people don't know. And you're going to know how to play the game. This is giving me, if I was you, especially during this transit, and if you happen to watch this from the very beginning for the natal part, I hope you take this too. You think of life like chess, and I would start learning chess. I promise you. Let me tell you why. So when you play chess, it's not like how you just, oh, the movies, whatever. It's very specific. You have to think 3 steps ahead. The sooner you play chess and the longer you play, you're going to realize it kind of applies to you in your real life. People who play chess and they're really good at it, they know how to navigate in life very strategically, and you can pretty much tell your own future, and you also have a sense of self-control. And let me tell you how powerful that is. I promise you, just learn chess. It is very, it's gonna do something, well, at least for me, my perspective, it's gonna do something in your perspective where you're 3 steps ahead than everyone. So you're going to be into hidden knowledge, hidden things that most people don't know. You're going to be into very esoteric energies. You're going to want to know secrets. People are going to tell you secrets. You want to be careful with your secrets, because anywhere where Lilith transitions, specifically Scorpio in the third house, you're going to have people that they're going to make it look like they're confining to you. They're like, oh yeah, I'll tell you my secret if you tell me yours. Don't fall for that. Don't listen. I know it's tempting because sometimes you want to be heard, and Lilith during this transition, you're going to feel repressed. You're going to feel like a sibling or something in your neighborhood is trying to shut you down. And it's going to try to make you feel like you have no voice. So there's going to be a part of you that will activate, and you will want to stand up for yourself through your voice, through your communication. But the hard part about Lilith is, and this is the part where I bring chess, you're going to have to figure out and navigate what's going to happen after you speak up for yourself, because there will be consequences. Either it could be short term, but it could sometimes be long term. And let me explain. I went through this in my transition, and I remember I was living in a specific household with a sibling, and if I said anything, I was walking on eggshells, and I was like, in my moment of my time to speak up for myself, I dealt with the consequences for months, and I had nowhere else to go. After that, I've learned that I have to literally play the game at this point. Like I am where I am right now, and I have to make I have to be in, I need to survive first, and then I can stand up for myself. But it's not to say that you can't stand up for yourself. It's to say that no, whatever it is that you decide to do, think 2 steps ahead. I know it sounds crazy, and I promise you, I already went through this transition. If you really think about it, and you know that person, you know the other party, whether that's your people on the internet or who are trying to troll you or gossip or anything around you that's trying to bring you down, you have to really know thy enemy. I know it sounds crazy, but like, you do have to know thy enemy. If anything, Lilith and Scorpio transitioning in this time is giving me be close to the enemy, but do not spill the secrets. Do not spill your secrets. Okay, so I know this sounds dramatic, and that's not always going to be the case. You're still going to have haters. I'm sorry to break it to you. There's going to be probably either the same sex or all sex that don't like you in the neighborhood. They might be like, I don't like that girl. All the girls are like ganging up with each other, or all the guys are ganging up with each other. I don't know. Guys are not really like that, but like, let's say it was something like that. Or all the guys are not all hating with each other, but they all hate you individually because there's something about you that triggers them, and there's something, you know what I mean? There's something that triggers people is the main thing about your voice and when you speak up for yourself. So you will be activating that voice, and there will be times where you will feel like, no, I need to speak up for myself. End of story. I don't care how they react. But if you're in a circumstance, specifically, like I said, I was with a sibling, I didn't have anywhere else to go. In that time, I knew right there and then, this person was this person right now. And it sucked. But I literally I felt like I was playing chess. And I was like, I'm either on their good side or I deal with the consequences for months. Like, the intensity, especially Scorpio. I think I have Scorpio in my 3rd house. I do. I have Scorpio in my 3rd house draconically. That's my soul chart. And let me tell you, the intensity, if you happen to have, so you could have had a good relationship with your sibling if you have a sibling, but out of nowhere, when you go through this transition, you will see the dark side of them. And I never thought I would see the dark side of my sibling, because we were like best friends growing up, and then they're going through their own stuff in life. Everyone does. But the intensity was so intense. I don't even know how you did it. I remember thinking, like, what did I do? I did not know there's going to be that much consequence for me speaking up for myself. And it wasn't even anything big. It was just, sometimes the energy of Lilith is magnetizing dark energy. So if it means that you're going to speak up for yourself, be aware of who and be aware of how. Think of it like chess, like I said. Remember who they are. Know thy enemy at that time. I don't want to say thy enemy to everyone, because not everyone's your enemy, but they're going to be times where you will come across your enemies, because that's part of life. And you're gonna have to be smart with who you tell and confide to about yourself, your secrets, your life. You want to really protect yourself during this time. This is the area of your life where you really want to protect yourself. Your words are manifestation at this time too. So you want to make sure you're protecting your dreams, protecting yourself. Sometimes, and I think this has worked for me. I know this sounds a little like, I don't know if this sounds really intense, but what worked for me during this transit, if someone said something really harsh to me, like really harsh, I just stare at them. I give it like 10 seconds, and then they get scared. They can feel the energy, and then you'll be like, oh, do you want to say that again? Or sometimes I'll be like, is that all you have to say? Is there anything more? And usually it scares them, like something, I know this sounds kind of crazy, but like it does something. Sometimes silence, and it's not don't give them the silent treatment. Let's be real, that's really toxic. But if you just give them 5 seconds, maybe more, 10 at the most, and they just see you observe them, and then you give them a response, because then you have time to think about it too, they're not gonna want to mess with you. I'm pretty sure they're not gonna want to mess with you. Whew. Oh yeah, so what else can happen during this transit? A lot of people are going to want to gossip about you. Your siblings might be like besties with you, but you never know, they might be talking something about you behind your back. Not always, or sometimes you will have a parent that has favorites with siblings and you feel unheard with a parent. That was a thing in my transit time where, for example, I have a parent that likes a specific gender, like loves that gender, and does not like the other. So I'm the other gender. And it's not that they don't love you, it's just that they're, who knows what's happening in their inner world, and they'll have favorites. They'll have favorites, and you're gonna have to be so strong in your truth, and you're gonna have to give yourself so much affirmations and so much this is a part where Lilith comes in, where you bring back autonomy in your life, where you're not relying on, oh, does my parent love me, or do they accept me, does my neighborhood care, does my sibling, like, you're gonna have to be in your autonomy. You're gonna be like, you know what, these people look at me like I'm a crazy person for standing up for myself, or having boundaries, or something. And I'm not saying having boundaries as in like the toxic way, like I have boundaries and leave me alone, not like that. In a way where someone disrespects you, tells you horrible things, and then you say no more. That's what I mean. And then they make you feel, they literally will point the finger at you and be like, you're a horrible person for saying no, blah blah blah, like you like saying crappy things to you. Like, you will be told a lot of crazy things. But this is the part where Lilith comes in and she's like, no, I'm taking back my power. I don't care how crazy. I am who I am. I know who I am. That's where the autonomy comes during this transition. You're gonna have to be in your own truth by yourself. It's hard. And then you're gonna empower others all along the way, and people are gonna admire you for that. And you will have haters at the same time. That comes with Lilith no matter what. That's just what it is. Like, yeah. And that's not a bad thing to have haters sometimes you need haters to know that you are being authentic, and those haters are just activating the authenticity within themselves. Eventually it's going to come up and be, if they happen to grow as a person, they will notice that you triggered them were just an inspiration, and something that they really wanted to experience that you had, and you probably didn't give yourself credit for. So yeah, that is a little bit of the transition and progression in Scorpio. It's a very intense energy. I would say it's the most intense energy out of all the signs, because Scorpio is not a joke. You're going through hell and back. And it's going to be one of the darkest caves you walk through wherever Scorpio is, and specifically with Lilith. But I promise you, once you come out of that cave, everything's going to feel so lightweight. Someone's going to tell you something, you're going to be like, that's it? That's all you have? Everything that happens to you during this transition or during your life natally, I guarantee you everything else is going to feel lightweight. Okay, so I also had to add the shadow self of self. It's not always about other people projecting onto you. It's also, and it could manifest within yourself by yourself, so you can have that dark energy. So there's a couple ways it can manifest. You may lie a lot to yourself or to others, and hence gives you that idea of not being able to trust others, but in reality it's because you can't trust yourself. You may use your words in a very intense and cruel way, and it may be very harsh to others, whether it's your sibling, your neighborhood, or in the internet. You could also bully others online, and also you might be very angry at people who can speak up for themselves, that have a voice, and you may feel very, very triggered with that. Scorpio is about power, so the fact that you feel powerless is a very dark shadow of yourself, hence why you might project that onto others. You may also seek revenge, that's a Scorpio trait, and you might spill other people's secrets just to have control or feel like you're in power as well. I think a main big theme of this placement is that in order to transmute and transform into the Phoenix is to realize that anger or aggression or any kind of intense negativity that you may think of others, or you may think of others that think of you, or not being able to speak for yourself, it's helping you have self-realization that you don't need to show that much external power, but the power is actually within you, especially within your voice, and that your voice and what you use within those lips are a big impact in your life. Don't get scared if you feel like you have any of these aspects. It's only being human. We're not perfect, and we're always ever evolving, so don't worry about any of that. You can transform and transmute. Scorpio has always given me generational curse breakers, so if this is you, you can definitely break this. You are meant to break this. If you feel like these qualities have nothing to do with you, or you don't resonate, don't take it with a grain of salt. That's just a shadow self. This will only apply to certain people. Okay, so I hope this helped, and yeah, if you want to hear more about Lilith, I will be doing more. If you want to comment down below with anything specific that you want me to post, I do this for fun, so you have no idea, I have so much fun, so I'm glad to give information just for the fun of it. And on top of that, I'll be doing more thorough of Chiron and Pluto, very intense placements. Most people like to look at the sun and moon and rising, but I personally, rising is very important, but I like to look at the very parts of ourselves where we need healing. I love the healing work of astrology. So, all right, good luck. I hope this helped, and I will see you on the next one. Go ahead and subscribe and like if you want to see more. Okay, bye.